filthy monkey who can't even use jujutsu.
Filthy monkey who can't even use jujutsu.
Hey everybody, Jim Cummings here. Welcome to my podcast, Toon'd In with Jim Cummings. We have a great guest for you today. But before we get to that, make sure you like and subscribe. Our podcast has partnered with the largest Comic-Con in North America, Fan Expo, the Juggernaut. We're touring all over North America live, so get your tickets and come be a part of the live audience. It'll be fun. Go to fanexpohq.com for the tickets. We'll see you in a city near you, or a little bit away, but you can drive. And with all that said and done, sit back and enjoy today's episode. And as always, thanks for tuning in to Toon'd In with Jim Cummings.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Toon'd In with Jim Cummings. I'm producer Chris, joined as always by the legend himself, Mr. Jim Cummings. How are you doing today, sir?
Well, yet another day in paradise, and here we are.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We have a very special guest for you today, none other than Lex Lang. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Yes, my pleasure, really.
And now, I have to get this out of my system right off of it. Your name is literally a combination of two fantastic characters from the DC universe.
I know.
Were your parents
No, not at all,
big
actually.
comic book?
It's
Come
like
on.
Lex Luthor and Lana Lang, right? Right there together at last. No, they were not. In fact, Lex comes from my middle name, which is Alexis.
Oh.
And so I went by Walter for a long time. That's my first name.
Oh.
But literally every single time I would meet someone, like until I was like 20 years old, no joke, every time they would do a little doggy head tilt, they'd go, you don't look like a Walter. And so I always said, well, now you know what they look like. And I'd shake their hand.
That's true. You really don't look like a I don't know. My head just did that.
It's an automatic thing. So eventually I went by Alexis, and then all I heard was, well, that's a girl's name too, right? Or are you Greek? And I said, no. And then another voice actor, a guy named Richard Epcar, a real nice guy,
Sure.
Amazing voice actor. We were going somewhere, and he said, Lex, come on, let's go. And I was like, Lex Lang. I like the alliteration. It has that superhero DC vibe going a little bit. And I didn't have to change it other than what was my real name, So I just chopped a few letters.
All I had to do was take away my real name. Right. Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, so I got to keep the middle name and just like chopped it around a little, and it fit perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
Trivia for you
There's
folks.
the name. Yeah, exactly. I don't tell that often because people go, Walter, and they do the head tilt.
And you changed it before your acting career, before your voiceover career?
I started, when I first started voice acting, I was still going by Walter.
Okay.
And it was not until about a year or two that I changed it to Alexis. And then from Alexis over to Lex happened rather quickly.
Yeah.
Right. When was your career started?
I started voice acting in 1994. Yeah, 94.
Well, you're a veteran then.
Oh yeah, 31 years this year. Mm-hmm. That's all I've done for 30. Well, I've directed too, but it's in terms of income and what I do for a living has been voice acting. 31 years now.
Yeah, I've been stuck here too.
Well, yeah, it's. You're one of the greatest, and it's true. It's true. I know you're very humble about it, but I know that when I started coming onto Curious George, I played the doorman and his dog Hundley on Curious George.
Yes, you did.
And I've been doing that. I think 17 years ago is when I started that one, and I know that when I'd show up to a session. To me, I'd be pinching myself because it would be like a master class with all these amazing people.
Well, like
Frank Welker. I mean, it would just
Jeff
be like
Bennett. I mean,
Jeff can do anything. He's incredible.
Yes, he can.
And Reno Romano's great narrator, and of course you being there all the time. It was just like I was like, wow, how did I get in here? So I slipped in the door. And Frank was always super nice at the end of every session, just like saying, you did a fantastic job. Wow, what you're doing with that character is great. Just always like supportive and lifting, and I think that really helped me in my career a lot, just like gain confidence about the roles I was doing and things. Yeah.
Well, the voiceover actors we're all kind of supportive, right? It's not a it's not a dog eat dog. I've said it before. Occasionally they'll have a voiceover audition at a place where they do on camera, and there'll be like 4 insurance men, 6 insurance men, all sitting there with their cases or attorneys, and they're all looking at each other like this, and the voiceover guys are, dude, why are you doing it?
It's like a family, really. It's
Yeah.
it's a big family.
Yeah.
It's getting bigger, but it's
Yeah.
it's a nice family, especially that core group that's been here for decades.
Fooled him again. Ha ha.
Yeah.
That's kind of like.
And it's getting even bigger with the inclusion of things, like video games and
I know it.
narration and just so many different avenues.
I know. When I started, there was no voices in video games because the computer chips didn't have enough memory. There was just like some MIDI file that was audio, a song or something. And then there was no anime yet when I started. It was just, they called it, when it first came out, they were calling it Japanimation.
Yes,
Really?
I remember that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. I thought they'd call it Japanimation, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, when I first started, they were calling bip, bip, bip. That was Pong.
Oh, right.
That was the big.
Exactly. Yeah, I was loving Pong when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I just dated myself.
Great voice
I know,
acting
but-
in Pong.
Yes. Bip.
Don't miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Man,
been
oh,
great.
man.
Yeah, and even animation didn't have a ton of like that long form animation that we do today. It was
Yeah. Not really story driven back then.
no,
Yeah.
there wasn't like the Family Guys and all the other long form talkie stuff. Yeah, that developed as well.
Thank God for talkies.
Right,
We'd be hurting.
silent films, right?
We'd be hurting. Yeah. I always joke around. I said, well, I didn't want to be a voice actor. I'm just a failed mime. Right. It's like, so hey,
What was
as long as it works.
your first set of things that you did as a voice actor? Was it Disney related? Or what was it?
Yeah, it was Disney. It was I don't know, maybe one of the first 5 shows on the Disney Channel. This new thing called cable TV popped up.
Right.
And because we had 4 channels, surely that was enough before.
Right,
But no, it was Disney Channel just started up, and it was Dumbo Circus.
Oh.
And it was people in costume, and it was basically it was the movie Dumbo continued.
Wow.
And Katie Lee was Dumbo, and Will Ryan was in it, and Hal Smith was in it, the great Hal Smith, God rest their souls. But I was Lionel the Lion, and he was basically Timothy the Mouse. But since it was a person in a costume, they couldn't even have like a 5-foot mouse, so he was a lion.
Oh, he's a lion. I got you.
But it was the character Timothy.
That's nice.
Dumbo's pal.
I love that.
And there he was.
And they were all doing it on stage, trying to in their costumes, right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Things have changed since then.
they sure have.
Yeah.
My wife, Sandy Fox, who's also a voice actress, when she was starting out, she was also involved with a show, I think it was an Old MacDonald's Farm kind of show, where she played a chicken. She wasn't in the soup, but she was the voice of a little chicken in a window, kind of thing, which was, they were doing a lot of those types
Well, it's
of
good she
shows
wasn't in
back
the
then.
soup.
Yeah.
Wow.
How about you? Where was your start? Bring us through the history of Lex Lang.
Wow. Well, it's kind of interesting because I started as a stage actor many years ago.
I think a lot of us did.
Yeah. I did that through high school and college, and then a little bit afterwards. And I just felt inclined to do stand-up comedy at one point. And so I started touring doing stand-up comedy in the West.
Say something funny.
I know. That sounds like the 10 p.m. crowd.
Yeah.
They've had a little too much to drink.
Yeah, exactly.
But I did that for a while. I was opening for, back then, there were names like Richard Belzer he's an on-camera actor. He was and I opened for Jim Carrey, for Marsha Warfield.
No kidding.
I worked every week with David Spade in Arizona at this place called Anderson's Fifth Estate. Every Tuesday night for a couple of years we worked together. And then one week he was gone. And the next week he was like writing for Saturday Night Live, and then like 6 months later he was on Saturday Night Live, and his career exploded ever since, right? But I did that for a little bit, and then it was at the end of like a phase in my life where I was engaged, and I had like a really bad breakup, and I lost my job, and I was literally like trying to find some direction, and I met a person who was going to the Musicians Institute in Hollywood, California. And I just started playing guitar, and this person came into a place I was working. I was working in a mall. I was working at this place called Superstar Recording, which is basically a glorified karaoke place where you come in, you sing, and they hand you, at the time it was a cassette tape, but then
That's right.
they moved to CDs later. They hand you your track of you singing, and you go on your way, right?
Well, that's kind of cool.
But this guy came in, and he sang some songs, and we hit it off, and he said, man, you play guitar, right? We should jam. So I jammed with him a couple times. And then he said, I'm going to LA in 4 weeks, and you got to come out. You got to go to the Musicians Institute with me. And I said, well, I really don't have the money. I don't have a job. I don't have, I was like really finding a new path because I had really, everything had just sort of dissolved in my world. And he said, look, put together a little tape. Maybe you can get a grant and a scholarship. If you get both of those combined, they will have you out there. So I put together a tape, a little video thing too, which then was much harder to do, right? But they wrote me back and said, you got the grant and you got the scholarship. So I said, California, here we come.
Wow, that's like the Muppet movie when Orson Welles gave Kermit here's the rich and famous contract.
Right, almost. But it was more like, here's the struggling musician contract.
Oh, okay, wow.
But anyway, it was kind of it was kind of neat because I came out there and I kind of instantly became the spokesman for the school, the Musicians Institute. So when someone would inquire about the school and the program, there was a video they'd receive or a DVD that was me standing in front of the Hollywood sign saying, Hollywood, California, the entertainment capital of the world. And here in Hollywood is the Musicians Institute. Let's go take a look, And so I'd tour them around the thing, right? So fast forward a little bit, 6 months, a director from a film that was being done called the school and said, I need you to send somebody over to show my actors how to look like they play music, because all of the actors had never picked up a guitar before.
How to look like they play.
And it's a movie about a band. A band is the central thing in this movie. And so they sent me over, and I was showing them how to like jump off of the riser and do windmills and Pete Townsend and all this stuff. And the director goes, you wouldn't happen to be an actor too, would you? I said, as a matter of fact, that's really what I am. And he said, okay, you're in the movie, And the guy who I was helping was like, wait, what? He goes, you're going to be the keyboard player instead, okay? You can look like you can play keyboards. And so he kept all his lines and scenes and everything. But they added some scenes. Fast forward again, the guy who was the bass player in the band in the movie became my dear friend. And he is actually Robert Mitchum's grandson. A real well-known actor in the 40s and 50s, a guy named Robert Mitchum.
Of course.
And his grandson, Bentley, became my dearest friend and roommate. We were living in
Bentley?
Bentley Mitchum, yeah.
Okay.
He's a fantastic actor, really nice person, great songwriter too. And we roomed, and he went and did a film in Vancouver. This film called Susie Q.
I grew up in Vancouver.
You did? Oh, nice. It's a beautiful city.
Sure
My
is.
God.
Yeah.
So he called me and said, hey, I'm doing this movie. Come on up. And so I went up to visit him for a week. And the girl that was playing opposite him in the movie was a woman named Amy Jo Johnson. And she's the pink Power Ranger.
Of course.
And so she was at the time. And so as we were coming back from dinner one night, I started doing my stand-up comedy thing. And it had impressions in it. Like I would do Sean Connery and Jack Nicholson and Christopher Walken.
Do you ever do them anymore?
Yeah, when I first started doing voice acting, I wasn't an impersonator, but I was a voice match specialist. And so I took my card out to all the studios and gave them a card that said voice match specialist. If your celebrity can't come in for the third session or whatever,
that's really smart.
Bring me in, and I did
really
sound
smart
and stuff.
That's nice.
Rewind a little tiny bit. When Amy heard me doing these impressions, she goes, "You'd be a great voice actor." And at the time, I was like, I have no idea what a voice actor is.
What the hell is that?
There's no voices on the cartoons I watch. There was no anime, no video game. So it was like nothing to reference. She goes, no, on Power Rangers, there's always some guy in a suit that is a villain of the week or whatever that needs a voice. And I said, I'd be open for that. So she introduced me to the producers there, and they ran me through the ringer a little bit and said, you got skills, kid. Come on, And so they brought me on, and I did like 3 different seasons with Power Rangers. And at the same time is when I reached out to all the studios. It was around that time I met my wife, Sandy Fox, my wife. And she was with ICM already, and she helped me get an agent. I was with ICM for a little bit, and then I kind of moved around a little, but she helped me with the demo, the agent, and all that. And back then, if you probably recall, we had pagers. Nobody had a cell phone.
That's right. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Everybody had a pager.
Had to pull off the freeway and find something called a payphone.
Phone booth, yeah.
A payphone.
That was a payphone. You actually had to carry change and put it in.
Way back.
This is Yeah, this is a long time ago.
The kids are out there going, "What? What's that?
Hey,
mean?
phone.
What is that?"
Superman would change.
Yeah,
in
I
it.
was
You
just
got
going to
this.
say that. Yeah.
It was his changing.
Go figure. Yeah. Occasionally, you'd see a little scrap of red cape on there.
Got caught in the door on the way out.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
So that's kind of my origin, and then I was blessed to. It's funny, this guy Bentley again. He invited me to a wedding, and while I was at the wedding, the table I was sitting at was this woman named Andrea Romano, and I met her at a wedding.
We know her.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about voice acting. I was there at the wedding with Bentley to do some music, and we were both going to play some songs for the wedding, but here I was sitting next to her, and we talked for, I don't know, we hit it off. She's a wonderful woman.
Oh, yeah. She's great.
We just hit it off. We talked for, probably a couple hours and said, stay in touch, and I never asked her like what she did for a living because it was just more about the good conversation we were having there. And a few years later, maybe 2 years later, I got an audition from Susan Chico, who was her right-hand assistant. I don't even know. I wouldn't even call it an assistant, just her right-hand executive, I don't know what you'd call Susan, but just someone who's doing a lot of work there together with Andrea. And
yeah, that's the official title.
Yeah, that's on her business card.
Yeah. I do all the crap nobody else does. Thank you.
But she was a big part of the casting, and I had auditioned for a few things, and I was cast. And when I got to the session, Andrea was like, "Wait a minute, you're from I know you." That's fantastic. And Andrea really got in my corner thereafter, and she'd bring me in all the time for all her shows as a utility player. And I'd come in, I'd do, 2 voices for Captain Cold, something for Heatwave, Atomic Skull has a voice, So I would do a lot of little bit parts for her, but she kept me on the Batman, Justice League Unlimited, Legion of Superheroes,
Well, that must have been
Avatar.
terrible.
That was amazing.
That was great.
It was so good.
Wow.
So I owe her a lot.
So you hit the ground running.
I hit the ground running, and right at that same point, anime started. And I was right at the front door for that as well. And I did a lot of like really famous anime. But it was before
Did you do that in California?
In California, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was living in California from 1988, I think I moved
So I remember
California.
hearing that almost all anime back in the day was in Dallas or somewhere in
Well, yeah, it was
Texas.
split between Los Angeles and Dallas. Yeah. There was Funimation was the company that was out in Dallas. And they got bought by Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll, I think, got bought by Sony. I believe that's or Paramount, right? So they're pushing it hard now.
Wow. Yeah, no kidding. Well, that's a hell of an intro.
I know. I was really lucky because it just so happened that as video games were introducing more dialogue, and as anime was happening, and as Western animation was happening, I kind of had a foot and a hand in every pool, and it was growing. And for a while, it was all segregated. Like if you were interested in anime, it would be, you got to go to an anime convention. If it was a sci-fi convention. And pop culture just kept coming together with all these things together. And now it's just like any kind of con.
Yeah.
It could be an anime con, but you're going to find superheroes, you're going to find video games. They call them Comic-Cons now, of course,
Yes. And apparently you can get comics there.
Yes, you can get comics, yeah. Like the original Comic-Cons, like San Diego Comic-Con, it was all about the art.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
we were just at a MegaCon Orlando last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And it's such a conglomeration. I mean, you look at all the actors and voice actors and everything, and it's like, how do they even fit into this sphere? You know? They have the Lord of the Rings cast.
I know.
Yeah.
They have anime. They have Heather Graham, which I couldn't believe.
What was she
I
there
just
for?
She was just there to look good, man. Oh my God. I couldn't believe I stopped by her booth and I was like, just staring. I was like, oh my God. I had to look up how old she is. 56, and she looks
stunning.
Yeah, she looks 30.
incredible.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like mid-30s,
Oh, wow.
40
Maybe.
maximum.
That's amazing.
I was like, oh my God, where's the babies?
Yeah. Well, things like MegaCon and San Diego Comic-Con. Like the big cons, MegaCon, San Diego Comic-Con, those giant Comic-Cons. That's like A-list movie actors, casts from all the greatest movies.
Lord of the Rings.
John Cena
guys
was
and all
there.
those.
It's like, what does wrestling have to do with?
Oh yeah, wrestling too. That's been introduced into that sector. I've noticed
he
a lot
was
of that.
a superhero in his last movie.
Yeah, and Mr. T was there.
Yes.
Oh really?
My God.
Yeah.
Yes.
That must have been funny. Was he all adorned with his chains and everything?
He was adorned in the American flag.
Oh really?
Yes.
So you went
And he had
patriotic
a
now?
chain.
Very. He had the American flag headband,
Oh,
the
really?
American flag pants, all the way down to the cuffs.
And he was still the same guy. How you doing? You Winnie the Pooh. Get over here. I love me some Winnie the Pooh. Give me some of that honey.
Did he put you in a headlock?
Yes,
I pity the fool who take away from the Pooh.
Yes. Oh my God.
But yeah, it's such a crazy world now. It's like if you're not collaborating or crossing over, you know, are you really like doing anything as a business?
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like you have to. I mean, I have underwear that's Lacoste collabed with Netflix.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
that is amazing.
Yeah. I was like, I literally just bought them because I was like, Lacoste and Netflix have a collaboration on underwear.
Of course.
I need to buy these because what in the world is this?
Netflix does?
Excuse me. I have to drink some water right now.
Oh, yes. Me too. Some
Why, look.
H2O.
That's my. Oh, wow.
And this is your company.
Clever.
This is, yes, H2O.
It tastes like water.
Best tasting water in the world.
Best tasting water on this particular planet.
It's true. Yes, on our planet. It may even be the best tasting on a few other planets too. Yes, H2O. My wife, I'll just call her Sandy because I've said her name a few times already today. But Sandy and I started the company. We thought about it for the first time in 2004, but we opened our doors on Valentine's Day of 2006. And we have just been going strong ever since. You can get it online. All you go to is h2ohmwater.com. And you can get love water and peace water and a multi-intention water that has love, peace, joy, gratitude, prosperity.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's a pretty good combo.
Yeah, we call it water with intention. And one of our slogans is think it while you drink it. And, you know, they found that for our own mental health, if you start your day with something positive in your thoughts, that it cascades outward in your day. And even like you kind of hold the vibration of that positivity and good things gravitate towards you, or you notice the things that are good in life as opposed to waking up and complaining or being fearful or whatever. Yeah. So.
Yeah, years ago, I had a place in Missouri, the Washman, Devil's Washman, which is a great name. But I had it tested to see if I could bottle it.
If you had a well? You had a well there?
And an incredible spring. It literally shot out the side of a hillside in a mountain.
Wow.
It was, and it had 3 lakes on it, which came from that water. And because it was in the Ozarks, I thought it would be good to be called H2 Ozarks.
Well, that's fun.
And the slogan was, "We've been making water since forever." So I, you know.
Did you ever do that? Did you ever do it? Or?
No. I ended up selling the place, but I'm friends with the owner. I don't know, maybe I'll.
And the water itself was like, it was good water.
Yeah, I had it tested, and the guy said, "Well, I don't know if you want to sell this. You got to do some work first." And I said, "Oh God, like what?" And he goes, "I'd put it in them little plastic bottles." And I go, "Oh, that's it?" And he goes, "That's about it." Oh. I said, okay,
that's easy enough.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was thinking of doing that anyway.
I'd build a giant facility and a humongous filtration system.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so that worked.
I want to switch the topics really quickly because I've heard you on other podcasts, and to me, your voice matching ability is incredible.
That's amazing.
Where did you find that talent of being able to sound like, almost anybody?
Yeah, it's interesting because it was more of a joke that I did as a child when I was in 7th and 8th grade. I found that I could sound just like my science teacher.
Oh, there you go.
And so often, and in fact, he liked me for it, and I got in trouble for it at the same time.
Right.
But often during a test, we'd be taking a test, and I'd go, "Pencils down," and then everyone would put their pencils down, and he'd look up from his desk, and he'd wonder what was going on, and then I'd be just like writing, and then everyone leave the class, like people would start getting, and eventually, he caught on, and I had to stop.
You were in detention.
Yeah, more or less. But later, when I started doing the stand-up comedy stuff, I was a big fan of Rich Little, who nobody knows nowadays.
Sure.
But he was an impersonator, and
he was really good.
He was fantastic, and I was a real big fan of that, even as a young person, like really young, 13, 14, 15 years old, and I would see him on the Johnny Carson show.
Sure, yeah.
And so Johnny Carson, for those of you who are out there that may not know who that is. He was the not the original, but the second longtime host of the Tonight Show. And Jay Leno took over for him after that, and then Jimmy Fallon took over after that. But I would watch Johnny Carson, and as a kid, I'd be in my room just trying to, let's see, tonight on the show. I didn't know this, but Doc Severinsen, and I'd be like imitating him, and then I would do my own show on a little cassette recorder. I'd be Johnny Carson, and then I'd be Johnny Carson interviewing Jack Nicholson. So. You know that noise, when you hear that noise, Johnny, and I'd be doing that, and I'd be going back and forth, and then...
Yeah, and you got to do the face.
Yeah, have to. Well, you have to kind of become the character when you're doing an impression, especially, right? And then because I had done so many impressions over the years, when I finally became a voice actor, that's when I thought, you know what? It is an ability that I have that not everybody has, so maybe I can reach out and find some work.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And I did like a lot of stuff for William Hurt.
William Hurt has that voice that's kind of in here, and it's he's got that airy quality to it.
That's kind of what he sounds like, right?
That's right. It's right there.
And
see, I love those kind of obscure ones.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
It's funny because there was a remake of the film Lost in Space.
Yes,
that was William Hurt was in it. Matt LeBlanc from Friends, and a few others.
Oh my God,
it was a terrible movie, unfortunately. But but it was a remake, and I auditioned to revoice 13 lines of William Hurt, and I was like, great. I auditioned. I don't know, it was maybe 30 or 40 people. I got the part. I came in, and I was doing the first few, and they said, we're going to have another session tomorrow. And I came in for the session the second day, and they said, there's a little hiccup in the whole plan that we have here. William Hurt has decided to go to an ashram in the Himalayas, and he's off the grid for the next 16 weeks.
Okay.
So
perfect.
You're going to be replacing him for everything we were going to have him do. So I was like, how much is that? And they said 38 lines, and about 6 or 7 of them are on camera. We're just replacing because of the generator in the background. We're replacing, right? So I did that. And it came out great. I was so lucky. I was really happy because sometimes as a voice sound-alike guy, my voice changes day by day. Some days I have the lower pitch in the morning that's really very strong.
I know what you mean.
Other days, it's kind of, I have an airy quality to my voice sometimes that's great for like a Charlie Sheen, all right, we're going to get the angels over here and we're going to go hang out, like it's got that lighter stuff, right? And so it all worked perfectly for the William Hurt thing. And then while I was there on the last session, they said, now Gary Oldman is playing the Dr. Smith. And he turns into a creature at the end of the film, like a spider creature. And he did some of his efforts, but we really want to enhance the efforts, right? And so they said, can you do a few for him? So I did all the creature stuff at the end of the film. And then they said, there's a guy at the beginning of the movie who is a traffic, like a controller for the liftoff of the spaceship they're in. And he has this scene where he's telling Matt LeBlanc, good luck, old friend, or whatever, right? But this actor who was playing this guy chose to do it in a Russian accent. And the director said, okay to him, because the actor said, well, by the time we have this kind of space travel, Russia and the U.S. are going to be pals, it'll be like a Russian guy working in the U.S. thing. Well, yeah, a little, it's been a long time. It still hasn't worked.
Still waiting.
And so he said, we need to revoice that guy. He'll still be on camera.
We meant to say Irish.
Yeah.
Good luck, old friend.
The Irish space program.
But he said, just generic American, whatever. So it was funny because by the end of it, I did a bunch of radio commercials that were in the movie. I did the Gary Oldman stuff. I did A Line for Robot. I did William Hurt. I did the guy at the beginning. And we had a joke. We called it Lex in Space instead of Lost in Space.
No kidding.
So
that's nice.
Yeah. And then I went on to do like lots and lots of other stuff, probably 200 or 300 other sound-alikes. And sound-alikes are a lot different than an impersonation. Like there's a guy named Matt Friend out there who's on social media who does all the impersonations of everybody. He's fantastic. And that's an impersonator, A sound-alike is it's a much more specialized type of work because what I have to do is I have to sound just like the performance that particular actor is giving. I don't have to sound like
them in character.
Yeah, I have to sound like them in the character. So, if it's John Travolta or something. I'm not going to do a John Travolta, you know, like all that John Travolta.
Yeah, right.
He's got a Southern accent in this movie, and he's talking very normal, you know. So I have to listen and be able to go, okay. And another thing that's challenging about it is that often those sound-alike roles are there's the actual actor saying something, and then there's the plug-in of that sound-alike, and then there's the actual actor saying it right after again. And so I have to throw a line in between the actual actor. So if it's not exact, it stands out.
It's really have to blend.
You have to really blend and be, you know, convincing. And so that's the big difference technically between a sound-alike and an impersonator.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't know you had this great, you know, side career. I mean, that's in and of itself.
For a long time, probably for 3 or 4 years, that was almost my main career. It was just going from studio to studio doing different sound-alikes.
Do you think that your musical background, I know you grew up playing violin and the French horn, guitar, drums.
I know.
Do you think that musicality helps you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, hear the voice and what's going on in the voice.
Because I developed my ear, we call it, right? You know, like I have a good ear for listening to tone, texture, pitch. You know, these are all things that play into the final thing.
People have their own rhythm.
The rhythm, exactly. Yeah, the rhythm. You know, I was trying to teach somebody the other day I've done it before, but to do like a Sean Connery. You know, you go like, well, where does his voice sit? Is there a lot of air? Is it a lot of air going through and I feel the air? No, for Sean Connery, it's almost like these glottal stops, which is, it's like very little air happening, right? So, and where's the pitch? It's low, right? So if I talk like this, it doesn't sound like Sean Connery at all. So then you go, okay, what's his music? So there might be a little bit of music happening, right?
Yeah.
And then you go, does he have any speech impediments or anything? Well, for Sean Connery, his teeth are, I don't know, whatever. The SHs, or the S's are all SHs, right?
Yes, that's right.
And then he's got the accent, a Scottish accent.
Yes.
So you start adding those things together and you say, yes, hello there. Listen, your plans for world domination are over, Jack. You know, and like, so you start like, you know.
And it doesn't hurt to have that cheek poke up.
Yes, of course. Yes, listen, my teeth are loose. You know, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So whenever I do that, I break it down into a lot of pieces and then try to put all of them back together.
And how long does that usually take you? Like when you hear a voice, like my voice, how long would it take you to recreate?
It would probably take me, you know, sometimes it's fast, but most of the time I really have to break it apart and hear where I'm hearing the placement and everything. So maybe half an hour, you know, but I'd have to listen to your voice.
What a long time.
No.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
And I'm not always exact. I'm always very good about letting my agent know when I don't, because we get these voice match auditions often, right?
Oh yeah.
And if it's not really 100% dead on, I don't want to submit because I don't want to like.
Boy, I agree.
You know.
I mean, if you could do every voice, you'd be the T1000, right?
Right.
Glad you got that.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with saying, you know what, I'm not a dead match for this. You know, there was a Danny DeVito thing that came in just a couple days ago as an audition.
Oh yeah.
And it was a sound-alike for Danny DeVito, and I gave it a try. I listened and I tried, and I just didn't sound like Danny DeVito. I sounded like, I don't know, some New York cabbie or something by the end of it. Well, you know? He might have been
pretty
that
close.
At one point.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Well, speaking of Danny DeVito, I was singing Danny DeVito in Hercules.
Oh, you did?
You're my one last hope. So pushing that depends on you.
I'm going to send you this audition that I got a couple days ago for you to do the Danny DeVito sound alike.
So how did you go about finding his voice?
I listened to him doing the first part of the song, and it was a voice match, obviously, but they call it sweetening. Oh, and nice. That's when you, like with Jeremy Irons and Lion King, I just sang the song.
Yeah.
And he wasn't in it. He did the talking and then I did singing. But Danny was not bad throughout most of the song.
Okay.
So what you do is you get the music and you listen, and because he's never going to be right on every note, so they just have you do the whole song. And then, like, you're my one last hope. Oops, okay. You're my one last hope. That was me.
Yeah.
And they'll go, I've seen them do it. And it's literally, the clunker's coming up, pull him down, pull Jim up, and we're back to Danny.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
interesting.
Physically.
That's good.
They physically would go like that.
So they're like piecing together both performances into one.
Both the performances to end up on key.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a kind of a cool process.
And they do that a lot with sound-alikes. Like I said, there'll be a line before and a line after, and we got to plug in that centerpiece.
Yeah.
You know, and that happens often.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's an interesting, and I always, whenever I have had to do that, I like it. The more character in the voice, the better.
Yeah,
because it's like the last thing you want to do is, I don't know, imitate not Jay Leno. I don't know, Jimmy Fallon or something. He just doesn't have anything that distinct about his voice.
right.
It's like the last thing you want. Give me somebody weird, so you can hang your hat on it.
Give me some character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a way. But that's not as much of that going on as there used to be. I think. I don't know if, I don't know why, but just maybe actors are getting better at being themselves. Who knows?
And I think there's so many more actors in this pool.
Yeah.
Like when you started, you were ahead of me by a decade
years,
or so, right? And then when I started, there was still a small group. I would say all the voice actors were maybe 200 of us, it seemed like. And now I'd say it's in the thousands of voice actors.
There's going to be 200 voice actors at one convention now.
Right, exactly. Some of those signing
kidding.
conventions, nostalgia cons and stuff, there's a couple hundred people there, know, so.
Yeah.
And that's just a tenth of the pie, right? So.
Right. Yeah. Do you do a lot of conventions?
I have been over the last few years. I've done them over the last 20 years, maybe 5 or 10 a year, maybe. But over the last 3 years, I've been doing a lot of them. Mm-hmm. There's an anime show that I'm on called Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yes.
That's the one we traded. We traded those lines.
Right.
But it's a phenomenon. It was voted, not voted. It was it won the Guinness Book of World Records for 2023 and 2024 as the most watched television show on Earth.
That's insane.
Wow.
That's insane.
So, and I play one of the main characters, and or two of the main characters.
That's great.
Yeah, and so the call for me to be at these conventions has increased quite a bit. So I'm taking advantage of it. I'm riding the wave while there's waves to be ridden.
Wow, that is amazing.
That's so cool.